Hey, so I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, obviously, because I've been sort of going through the bridge, I think, for the intention that I sort of stumbled on having missed during the video that I made about what it feels like to just intend for something and to have the conviction and knowing that it's done just by doing that. I'll link to that video. But at the end of the video, I realized, because I have been, in this struggle about my body and about accepting myself the way I am, or changing into what, I think I would like to be, basically since I was 10 years old. But, I made this huge physical change between 2018 and now, which was I dropped like 75 pounds. And there, it still wasn't enough. And in my mind, I've still been buying into this illusion that the solution is in 3D, because I did a bunch of work mentally in January and February. I had a bunch of mental issues that went into it, a bunch of beliefs about what it meant, a bunch of different, what it had meant that I had gained weight, and just a bunch of shit. And I got rid of all that, but I still wasn't happy. And so I was kind of back to the point a month ago where it was just like, okay, well, I have to get to 20% body fat. That will solve this problem. Then it will be fine. And I was starting to really heavily buy into that again, and just saying, you know what, hard work is the only way out of this. And it may be, that remains to be seen. I don't really know what the 3D solution ends up being, but I realized during that video that I had not clearly defined what it was that I wanted, other than the 3D solution that I believed would bring about the desired end state. I hadn't said, I want the desired end state, make that happen, it's done. I hadn't done that. It hadn't occurred to me to, for some reason. I think these ongoing, seemingly big issues can just be a blind spot, even if you're somebody who thinks about this stuff all the time. So I was kind of shocked when that occurred to me during that video. And I just said, okay, I get it. I know what I want. What I want is not to be 109 with 20% body fat, which is what I would be if I dropped like 10 pounds right now. That's not what I want. I want to get that because I feel like that would free me from thinking about this all the time. I feel like that would free me from feeling judged by other people. I feel like that would make me able to believe that a romantic partner wanted me physically. Just all these things that, you don't need a middleman to get to. You can simply know what you want. Those things I just defined, other things. Just being peaceful, not thinking about it all the time. Not catching myself in the mirror and going right to my flaws and assessing whether they're better or worse than yesterday, or having thoughts about how, I'm fighting a losing battle because I'm just getting older every day. And, I just want to be done with all of that. And I want to be able to believe that I am enough for someone else. That's really at the heart of a lot of it. It's not just about me and how I feel. I also want to feel like I'm enough for somebody else. And so this kind of all wrapped up into this one intention. And I said, okay, it's done. And the beautiful thing about it's done is that you can constantly check to see if you believe whether or not it's really done. Because if you do, you don't worry about it. That's the thing. If you set an intention and you communicate it, however you do that, and then you believe that it's done, you allow something outside of yourself, some extension of yourself, whatever the thing is, divine intelligence, God, whatever that thing is for you, to do the thing for you. If you believe that and you have faith in that, it produces this outer result of just peace and relief. The mental toil of you having to figure out how it's going to happen and what it means is gone. And so I was struggling with this. I want to get to 109. How do I, I didn't go to the end. I didn't go to the desired result. I just went to the thing I thought that was going to get me to the result. And so after doing that, that was about a month ago. This month has just been so full of things happening that I haven't even been able to process it. I haven't even wanted to talk about anything that's happening too much on video for this channel because I just don't know what to say about it. It's been so much that I've been feeling kind of depressed and overwhelmed. And a funny thing that came out of it was I started eating a lot more due to the stress of all this stuff that happened. If you go to my channel and you sort by most recent, a friend of mine who I loved, that I had a relationship with that was romantic, but who wouldn't label it, a bunch of stuff started happening with him. He showed back up out of nowhere after we hadn't talked in 6 weeks, and then whatever, there's a video about that. My specific person who I dated last year for several months, that had kind of a sad relationship with, showed up, and we ended up having some conversations that really surprised me. I didn't know what to make of that. And somebody who I've been talking to since January, on and off, online, somebody I've never met, who I didn't have like a, very deep relationship with, just sort of a surface thing. Right after I had that intention, literally the next day, he and I had a conversation, like the first meaningful conversation where I felt like we actually connected on a deeper level that we've ever had. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't thinking anything about this person other than that we had kind of a casual interaction and friendship, and I was interested in him on some level deeper than just some random person. But I had no intentions with that and nothing. And immediately he and I started talking, and he pretty quickly revealed to me that the first time he saw me on a video on this YouTube channel, that he had gotten the sense that I was the person that he had been looking for the last 7 years. Hi, Matt. But what's interesting about that, I'm starting to, I think, see the meaning of those events in the context of my intention about becoming peaceful with myself. So my friend Steve and my specific person, Tim, I didn't know what those things meant, but looking back, they were very validating. And I had actually intended that, I'd gotten real with myself, that I really wanted validation from those two people. I wanted to know that I had been more than just, with Tim, I wanted to know I'd been more than just some surface relationship, like somebody that he saw as arm candy, for lack of a better, and not in the physical way. And with Steve, I just, we had this relationship, and I just always felt lesser than, because he never wanted to make a commitment. He never wanted to have a relationship for real. And it made me feel like shit. And that changed and made me feel good. I'm sorry that I couldn't just get that feeling for myself without that validation, but it is what it is, and I got it. And I think I needed that. In the context of this whole process of getting to this peaceful state with myself. But the thing that's really starting to be significant is this friendship, this relationship with this online person who I've had some conversations with over the last week that I've heard things said that I really needed to hear. And here's what I think is significant about it. First of all, this online person, Matt, just refer to him by his name from now on, is wonderful and wants all of the same things I do. It's like the male version of me, which I've always said, I just need to find the male version of me, like somebody that wants the same things I do and values them at the same level. And I have put no intention or expectation on anything with this particular person, despite the fact that he said that he feels pretty sure that we're gonna end up together. I can't go there with somebody who I've never met, but just the fact that I've been having conversations with somebody who, you know, the fact that somebody exists like this and just showed up like suddenly after being around for 6 months, but showed up in a real way the day after this intention, that's, I think, how this works. How this intention and knowing ends up just unfolding in your life. For whatever reason, that intention opened up a relationship with this person. And as a result, I have seen, one, that there are people out there that are exactly what I need. Like, it's not just the Steves and Tims of the world that I have to try to mold into something else or accept in a certain way. There are people that actually want what I want. And that alone was awesome, just to know that. But, you know, it opened up this relationship where I've talked about a lot of this stuff, the worries that I have about myself in relation to another person. And, you know, my experiences in relationships over the last 15 years have been really detrimental to my ability to understand that my physical body is not what facilitates the type of relationship with another person that I want. That I know this on a deep level, but it's been so obscured due to my experience that, and there's no blame in that, you know. Every relationship is just a reflection of you. It's work I hadn't done on myself, but at the same time, it had effects on me. And talking to this person, Matt, there have been some conversations that just came up organically due to the relationship that I am having with him. You know, these conversations about how I feel about things just coming up in casual conversation have led to hearing this particular type of person say exact things I needed to hear to unscramble my brains so that, you know, I can get to the point where I'm able to perceive myself properly, if that makes sense. It's just happened. I haven't tried to make any of this happen. I haven't tried to figure it out. And like the stress of Steve and Tim and Matt, that first like week after I had this intention, I was eating and eating and eating, and it brought about sort of a moment of intense stress about the whole thing where it's like I downloaded this, you know, it's like I snapped and just said, I am not an object and I don't have to live like this. You know, there was this buildup of tension and this snap that allowed this understanding or this shift in perception, this instant shift in perception that, I mean, everything has tied together so perfectly. I don't even know if this video is making any sense because how you describe just like, you know, it's just like life happening. Like Neville Goddard says in a book, so I don't remember which one it was. I just read this and people have been posting it. I've been seeing it everywhere lately that, you know, the way this plays out, the way your intention unfolds into reality is so natural that it'll just seem like your life happening. You'll be like, this would have happened anyway, which, you know, I could easily, if I wasn't cognizant of having made that intention on a video, if I wasn't thinking about all this all the time, this would have just seemed like a natural series of events unrelated to the intention. But I haven't wanted to make any videos lately because especially the last few days, I've been having these conversations with Matt about you know, it's funny how this is played out. You know, he lives like, you know, a couple hours away, and you know, we've been kind of talking about, like, if we were to get together in person and something, and you know, your premonition that like I'm the person for you, if this is right, what would we do, and all this stuff. And that brought up a bunch of shit for me where I was just like, I don't want to be thinking about this before I've met somebody. And a big part of that for me is that, you know, this fear that I'm not good enough physically, and that I'm gonna form a relationship with somebody I haven't met and then meet and not be good enough physically. Like that's a big part of where that comes from, just outside of just it's good sense to just meet somebody before thinking you're gonna have a relationship. That's just good thinking. But no, it brought up this fear, like, you know, and I was talking about that. I talked pretty openly about that brings up body image issues for me, and this idea that I have to be, it's like added pressure on me to be perfect in my mind. Like if I'm gonna, you know, it's like, shit, we haven't already met in person. I don't know for sure that, you know, you're not gonna see me and just, or spend time with me physically in my presence and just be turned off somehow. It just, it activates part of this fucked up mechanism that I have that has to get worked out in order for me to be peaceful. It's like this long distance thing popped up the next day and naturally progressed over the last month to get to the point where these issues came up, and where I could hear certain things from somebody, like, you know, how you are physically is not the most important thing to me, or you're more than your body. You know, certain simple things that I know Steve thinks that. I know Steve thinks I'm more than just my body. I know Tim didn't love me just because he thought I was cute or something. But hearing a certain thing said a certain way at a certain time by a certain person is the magic of how divine intelligence orchestrates this stuff to give you the thing you want. And I wanted to talk about this. I don't know if any of that made any sense. Like, this is so clear to me how this stuff rolls out. It's just hard. It's hard to deal with it when it's happening, especially when it's this like deep issue. I have done so much freaking crying over the last 3 or 4 days. Like, oh my God, it's just been exhausting. All this stuff, all these feelings about this, you know, that I've built up over the last couple, you know, decade and a half, and since I was 12, basically, about the overimportance, the overemphasis on my looks in terms of my worth. It's just, you know, it's been cathartic, but it's tough going through it. However, I think when you set an intention like this, you know, to heal something about yourself that's ruining your life, that's painful, I don't know, I think you have to be prepared for the possibility that you're gonna have to go through some shit to get there. Anyway, that's what's been going on with me. I hope that is, I don't know, I hope any of that made any sense. But yeah, good things happening, movement happening. I have no doubt that in a short period of time, my life is going to be exactly how I want it to be, and I look forward to whatever the hell comes after that. It'll be interesting. I'll be here talking about it though.